Mr. Yevdokimov, thank you for taking the time to participate in the officials program. And first of all, please accept my sincere congratulations on the occasion of Russia Day, which is celebrated on the 12th of June, and to which our interview today is timed.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for the congratulations. Indeed, on the 12th of June, Russia's state holiday, so I take this opportunity to congratulate Russians who live in Azerbaijan and all our friends on this beautiful holiday.
Mr. Yevdokimov, how do you assess Russian-Azerbaijani cooperation aimed at ensuring peace and security in the South Caucasus?
You know, it is very important for Russia to have peace in the Caucasus. And thanks to the wisdom of Ilham Aliyev and his relations with Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, this peace has now been restored. There have been several meetings between 2020 and 2023. We welcome the achievement of an agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and we are certainly interested in that the process of normalization of relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia continues, and we will make all necessary efforts. We are ready to make such efforts in order to develop transportation routes between our countries and Azerbaijan and Armenia. I would like to see the delimitation of the border between the two countries, so the final peace can prevail in this beautiful region.
What is the impact of the declaration on allied cooperation between the Russian Federation and the Republic of Azerbaijan, signed by the presidents of our countries on the 22nd of February 2022 on the development of bilateral relations?
Indeed, a very important and fundamental document in our relations was the declaration that was signed by our presidents in 2022. In accordance with this declaration, our relations moved to the level of alliance. The results can even be characterized by a few figures. Last year, our presidents met 4 times. And for the first time, there was a state visit of Vladimir Putin to Azerbaijan on the 18th and 19th of August last year. Our government chairman met 3 times last year, and our deputy prime ministers, who are responsible for bilateral relations, these are Mustafayev and Overchuk, practically communicate weekly by phone and solve practical issues of our interaction. Therefore, the potential of our allied relations is enormous, and it will develop.
And how can you characterize the dynamics of the development of economic ties between Russia and Azerbaijan? And could you list specific steps that are planned to be taken to increase trade turnover?
You know, Russia always has a very positive perception, especially of agricultural products from Azerbaijan. Baku tomatoes are something that does not need to be advertised. People come to the markets and ask, "Baku tomatoes?" Thanks to the excellent relations between our presidents, as a result of signing this declaration, the trade turnover is growing. Last year, it grew by 10% and reached almost $5 billion. And for 5 months of this year, it has already grown by 40%. This is also thanks to the decision of Ilham Aliyev. We now trade in Azerbaijani manats and rubles. It is very convenient for business. Transfers between Russian and Azerbaijani banks are very fast. Contracts are signed in manats and rubles. Our border is very well organized. There are never queues there. Trucks with cargo go very quickly. And this year, of course, the trade turnover will grow. We have a lot of different interesting joint projects adopted by the decision of our presidents. In particular, we are discussing the issue of cooperation between the Azerbaijani shipyard in Baku and the shipyard in Astrakhan for joint construction of ships on the Caspian Sea. These are some examples of major projects between our countries.
Это вот несколько примеров крупных проектов между нашими странами.
The attitude towards the Russian language in the Republic of Azerbaijan has always been positive, and today the Russian language is taught in more than 300 schools and a number of higher educational institutions. Can Azerbaijan serve as an example for other countries in this direction? Tell us how it is assessed in Russia.
Да, вы знаете,
Yes, it's an amazing thing, absolutely unique. Probably more than 300 schools where there is a Russian sector, and we feel it every day and see it. Now, a lot of Russians come to Azerbaijan, and everyone is surprised and positive to see people walking down the street who can speak both Russian and Azerbaijani. You go into any store, any restaurant, any museum, people there speak very good Russian. And of course, this is, again, thanks to the wisdom of Ilham Aliyev. And, of course, this gives huge advantages to Azerbaijan in our relations, that we can speak Russian freely with Azerbaijanis.
Mr. Yevdokimov, how do you assess the prospects of cooperation between the two countries in the field of education? And what innovations and initiatives are being discussed in the context of Azerbaijani students studying in Russia?
Yes, the uniqueness and advantage of Azerbaijani school children is that they mostly speak Russian very well. And in this regard, we try to increase the quota for Azerbaijani students to study in Russian universities every year. Now it is 280 places annually. The number of those wishing to study is growing. For the last 3 years, we have more than 1,000 people wishing for these 280 places. We have a competition. We have 2 Russian universities that have branches here. They are Moscow State University and Sechenov University. And St. Petersburg University would also like to open a joint university here. That is, we have very big plans for mutual exchange and education of students.
То есть у нас очень большие планы по взаимному обмену и обучению студентов.
Mr. Ambassador, I would also like to touch upon the topic of cooperation in the field of culture and humanitarian ties between Russia and Azerbaijan. Cooperation in these areas has been going on for many years. Is Russia planning new projects?
I was at the Russian Drama Theater in Baku on Saturday, and every time my colleagues call me sometimes, I say, I can't talk right now. I'm in Russian drama. They say to me, Mikhail, are you in Moscow? Are you in St. Petersburg? I'm in Baku. The uniqueness of Azerbaijan is that Azerbaijan very carefully and reverently preserves its cultural history. On the other hand, Russian culture is also loved, respected, and supported here. On Saturday, I was at the performance of the tour of the theater Baltic House. Well, it is amazing, of course. The hall was full. They had full houses on both Saturday and Sunday. This is an example of how well Russian culture is treated here. On the other hand, we are now discussing holding days of Azerbaijani culture in Russia. Azerbaijani culture is loved and respected in Russia. And I am sure that these days of culture will be successful.
Russian citizens occupy a special place among tourists visiting Azerbaijan, and many of them note that they feel at home in Azerbaijan. What steps are being taken to further attract the tourist flow?
Yes, indeed. For Russian tourists, Azerbaijan is becoming one of these very interesting places. From 2023 to 2024, the number of Russian tourists has increased by 17%, about 730,000, and their number is growing. We have an increasing number of flights between different cities of Russia and Azerbaijan. Everyone is happy to fly to Azerbaijan. We have already said they speak Russian here. Not only Baku, but the Shadag ski resort, has now become a very attractive place for Russian tourists, a popular destination for Russian tourists. Especially, there are plans to expand the number of hotels there. Azerbaijan opened a tourism bureau in Moscow last year, which is very right, thus attracting more Russian tourists, and of course, we are interested in more and more Russians to get acquainted with Azerbaijan.
Mikhail Nikolaevich, how do you assess the conditions created for the functioning of the Russian community of Azerbaijan and its activities in general?
You know, I met here, of course, not only the Russian community. This is probably an example for many countries as well. Thanks to the decision of the country's leadership, all conditions have been created here for the development of all associations, in this case compatriots and citizens of Azerbaijan, for whom Russian is their native language. This is also an opportunity to get education. Here, not only in schools, there are several higher educational institutions where teaching is in Russian. The head of the Russian community, Mikhail Yevdokimov, is a member of the Azerbaijani parliament. This is also an indicator of the respect with which the representatives of other nationalities and other languages are treated here. That is why we have never had any complaints from Russian-speaking citizens to create any problems. Therefore, Azerbaijan is an example of multiculturalism, an example of a country where necessary conditions are created for all nationalities, all language groups.
Mr. Ambassador, we thank you for the exclusive interview and for the sincere and informative conversation. I am sure that it was important for our viewers to hear your views. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to the embassy. We are always happy to see you.